therapy talk, not to dock therapy at all. It is incredible, but oftentimes the language in therapy sort of drains the like erotic spark
it's
in
not
a
sexy.
relationship.
Are you saying it's not sexy?
Okay, you said it, not me.
I'm Amy.
I'm April.
Certified sex educators, sexperts of the year, and best-selling authors.
And we're on a mission to help you have more spicy, connected, and amazing shameless sex. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
We're so close, it's like we have our own language. We're making sex and relationships shameless.
To learn more, go to shamelesssex.com.
And for 15% off some of our favorite sex toys, use code SHAMELESSSEX at purepleasureshop.com.
You are listening to a Pleasure Podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
My voice, I was going to say my voice isn't that bad, but now that happened. I left my voice in Mexico.
At least you had a good time.
I had a great time. I left my voice there, so it was that good. We were celebrating the creator of Uberlube's 50th birthday. He's 50 now.
50 going on 15.
I was like, how does it feel to know you created the best lube in the world?
What did he say? What did he?
He did his, he's kind of like, I don't know. Like, he's just kind of trying to be humble about he's not trying. He's super humble about it. But I feel like that's a trip. I mean, we think it's the best lube in the world, and a lot of the world does. So
I think he knows it.
He does know this. He does know. So this episode, I'll let you introduce it because April was kind enough to give me a break to rest my voice. So I was not on this episode, but I will listen later. She said it was awesome.
Really cool. I wish you would have been there, but you will hear it and you will love it. It was with Nico Vellotta, and it was about this platform that he built with some other folks. It's genius. It's AI and relationships. That's what we're going to talk about. But the platform's called Arya, which, do you remember Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
That's why I was like, is it like Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Or my brain was confusing with what's the dating app for the elite Raya?
Raya.
It's not. Everyone's Arya.
I think you said that. Yeah. You're like, is this Raya? I was
Are we doing a dating app?
And it's not a dating app. It is really cool. I can't wait for him to explain it to everyone because
they're helping relationships.
Didn't know. Yes. Yeah. About how much the world of technology can actually improve not only the communication in relationships, your intimacy, but it can also help you have a longevity with your partner. And there's sexy stuff involved too. It's not just doing
like fun and play.
Yeah, it's not just doing like we're going to like do a sex menu and then everything's going to be worked out. It's from point A to point Z.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Well, now I'm definitely going to check that out because I personally, even when my relationship is fantastic, I'm into learning new things and trying new things. And also, this is Valentine's Day season, y'all. Valentine's Day is right after this episode is released. So some people might be like, my relationship is kind of hard right now.
Well, guess what?
What?
They can watch I'm really stoked for this because the cuddle yoga and we're doing a pre-Valentine's Day one day before February 13th, pre-Valentine's Day yoga. It's a workshop and you can get all access to this cuddle yoga, which
with
is
energy orgasms. So this is separate from the podcast, right? This is not the same thing. This is a separate offering.
Not?
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Although whatever they're talking about in this podcast episode might apply to Valentine's Day for you too. But yes, so the workshop on February 13th, I correct, right before Valentine's Day is energy orgasms and cuddle yoga.
Energy orgasms with Sarah Tom Chesson.
Yeah.
You and your partner are going to be doing the cuddle yoga part.
Yep. And it's online. You can do this from anywhere.
A ton of signups already.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I will also say that pre-Valentine's Day, it's one day before, but you can buy a ticket and watch it anytime.
And take the ride.
Yes, buy the ticket, take the ride.
You go to shamelesssex.com. You can learn more about that. Sign up. Come hang out with us online. Also, it's not one of those workshops where you had to be glued to your screen. I know everyone's sick of doing that.
Your screen's not even going to be up. It's going to be...
Well, you can have it up, but you don't have to be like interacting with it.
Well, no one's going to see your screen. It's a webinar.
You'll be private.
Yes.
And what else do we have, Chip?
We have a retreat.
We have a retreat.
I can't wait.
Another retreat. And this one is only 3 nights and it's in California.
It's in Indio. So it's the desert.
So easier to get to if you are in the U.S. We love our 5 nights in Costa Rica and Tulum, but we wanted to make something that is more accessible, shorter, and this is for everyone, whether you're in a couple, you're single, you are invited to this retreat. It's May 8th to 11th, 2025.
We've had a bunch of signups already.
I know.
I'm stoked.
I'm super excited for this. Go and learn more also at shamelesssex.com and come hang out with us in the desert. And hopefully I don't lose my voice there.
I can help you and say some things.
Say some things.
If you want, Amy.
Yeah, go.
Do you have your hot beverage ready? You
I
can
do.
Sip your hot beverage.
I got this.
And relax. You don't have to talk. This episode, which I'm so excited for, already talking about Arya, is also brought to you by one of my favorite things to talk about, Joy Mode.
We love Joy Mode.
Joy Mode is so cool, and it's perfect for the sex question, which you're going to read in your most sultry, sexy half voice.
Are you ready?
I can't wait.
Is it offensive if I get my boyfriend a cock ring for Valentine's Day? We've talked about getting one before for those nights when he's not as hard as he wants to be, and he sounded into it, but I'm worried I'm being insensitive if I get him one for Valentine's Day. Ideally, I wanted to get him a few sexy items as a kit, maybe one of those wearable couples vibrators you've talked about. But maybe it's not an issue if there are other toys in the kit.
So the question is it offensive
to get your partner who has erectile issues on the occasion, who said, I'm down to get a cock ring? Is it offensive if you're like, here's a cock ring on Valentine's Day? Is that like, I'm kind of being an asshole on a day that's supposed to be about love, but it's also pleasure and your partner's down? I think they're overthinking this. I think the person writing
the question is, why would you think it would be insensitive if he already said he was down?
Yeah.
I think if you have something that you're wanting and it's like about the two of you, that could be really cool.
And or if your partner hadn't said like, I'm open to getting a cock ring, and then you're like, here, Valentine's Day, here's something for your dick that is generally for creating hardness, although there's cock rings that are also for other purposes that vibrate, and they're like a couple's toy for both partners.
The Atom Plus.
Yeah,
we talked about it. ATOM Atom Plus.
Yeah.
That one is for couples.
That one's awesome.
It's Hot Octopus, designed by I helped.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it. It's still my favorite cock ring because it thinks about the vulva.
Yeah, and it has
the clitoris. 2
motors, so you have vibrations in all the positions. And regardless, this, if your partner said they're interested in this, and so maybe it's insensitive not to get it for them. Just saying, that's probably not true.
Well, also the wearables, couples vibrators.
Yeah.
So I think that the issue when they said maybe it's not an issue if there are other toys, that's a good point. You could do just a montage of products that excite you that you see on purepleasureshop.com, for instance, because we have a great amount of suggestions that we totally believe in, the Shameless Sex faves. And there's also stuff that is great to enhance your relationship.
Yeah.
You can use all of the things, the massage candles.
Yeah. And I think giving the gifts of sex toys on Valentine's Day, birthdays, whatever, as long as the person might be open to receiving sex toys, shows I care about our sex life. I care about our relationship. So maybe for this person, maybe they'll feel more comfortable having that cock ring in there. And the Atom Plus is great, like April said, for couples pleasure. And so it will make the cock harder and give you the couples vibrations that you want. The couples vibrator that this person is talking about, the wearable one, I'm assuming it's not the Atom Plus because that is wearable. I'm assuming they're talking about the We Vibe Chorus or any toys by We Vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
The C-shaped one that goes into the vaginal canal, and then the penis can experience that with penetration.
Yeah, and it has 2 motors. There's one motor internally in the vaginal canal and then one on the clitoris. So the wearer gets a lot of fun vibrations, but then the penis owner also gets fun vibrations.
Wait, could you use both of those toys? Do you think?
Ooh. Oh.
Because you actually could. I never thought about this. Because the cock ring sits on it goes around the testicles, and then you put the rest of the shaft in.
Yeah.
Right? So it's because it's circular, and then you turn it up, and then your cock will vibrate. And then if you have the C shape, someone needs to test this out.
We need to try this.
I honestly,
not you and I together, but
don't think that I have a We Vibe chorus in my repertoire, because
We Vibe, send us the chorus. We need to try this. Try this out. Some homework.
But if you think about it, because the cock will vibrate from the cock ring.
They're getting like all the vibrations.
So I wonder what would happen.
Well, we'll try our homework, but to this listener, if you should get these, put them in your kit, and then send us an email and let us know. The chorus by We Vibe has a number of these C-shaped products. They all offer different things. One reason why we like the chorus is it has the ability to work with a remote and your phone. So as long as your partner has Wi-Fi, they can vibrate you from anywhere in the world. Bluetooth technology.
Does it do dishes?
I wish it did. Maybe in like 10 years. Does it snuggle you? Will it replace me?
No,
it will not.
Absolutely. I knew that, but I would be excited about the dishes.
And all of these products are available at purepleasureshop.com. Use coupon code shamelesssex. You get 15% off. We also often talk about for gift items, the book, which is more like an activity book, 101
Shameless
Nights
Sex?
of we do. Oh, no, there's that Shameless Sex, the book too. Yeah, put that in there as well. But no, 101 Nights of Great Sex, a great way to connect with your partner with fun new ways to connect.
That's a book. And so not the cards, but the book. Because there's the positions.
No, it's called 101 Nights of Great Sex. It's a specific, they probably own the title for that one. It's not the like hang upside down on a wall and
The assassin.
fuck like a monkey. Yeah. Also, massage candles are great gift items.
I love a massage
They're
candle.
cool because you get the candle part, but you can pour them while they're lit and they turn right into a massage
And
oil.
they smell great.
Yeah.
And it adds some sexy, just aesthetic lighting.
And
so
like a
it's like
smidge of kink.
ambient lighting.
Like a smidge of kink, not like kink heavy.
No.
Yeah.
Not a real candle, everyone. A massage candle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And I think that Joy Mode could be a part of this sexy kit as well, especially since she was talking about, or they were, I think it's a couple that as penis and vulva is involved. And it sounds like the hardness is a thing. So what about Joy Mode?
Joy Mode's awesome. And so for me, Joy Mode is specifically for creating a harder, firmer erection. We love Joy Mode. Our partners love Joy Mode. And it's so easy to do and to take in. And it's a wonderful product. But I'm curious if he were to open it and there's Joy Mode in there that's like, this is so clearly for making your cock hard. Is that too much or what do you think?
No, because it also enhances athletic performance because it helps with blood flow and it is almost like taking a supplement.
Yeah.
So it's obviously mostly natural ingredients and backed by science, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think that if you look at the stats of the people that my partner has distributed to at the gym, the dudes, they've given me really good reviews. I'm not kidding. Because I'm like, give this to all your friends.
Yeah.
I've told you before.
They're amped. And they're like, you can use it in the gym and in the bedroom.
Yeah. They're
all
like,
of the above.
My ejaculate went like, it hit the wall. I was like, wow.
You're like, TMI right now, but go ahead. You're April from Shameless Sex. You get that all the time. Yeah, it's super easy. It's just a little packet that you drink with, and you put it in water like 45 minutes before you want to go do your fun things. We've even tasted it. It tastes pretty good. It tastes like an electrolyte powder.
Yeah.
And works really well. So throw that in your kit too.
Right.
Everyone wins.
And right now, because...
Ooh, I have an idea.
What?
Joy Mode plus the vibrating cock ring plus the We Vibe chorus all at the same time.
Well, I think that's really brilliant.
Mind blown.
And then it could be after Valentine's Day. You don't always have to focus or pressure yourself or your partner to do all of these things on Valentine's Day. Be like, we can try one of these for the next week. And every night we can have a new goal, or every other night.
Well, in Joy Mode, the other thing about that is he can have that wherever he goes, like and prepare, like take that, and you don't have to have the vibrating cock ring wherever. It's less of a commitment. Maybe
it weighs less.
It weighs less. Yeah, TSA is going to be a lot cooler with Joy Mode.
Why don't y'all just try this stuff and then get back to us? And if you are listening right now and you want to get some Joy Mode in your life, they're our sponsor, which I'm stoked on. You get 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders. Just use code shameless at tryjoymode.com. That's TRYJOYMODE.com. And code shameless, 20% off if you buy once. And then if you get the subscription, so you don't have to think about anything, it's 30% off. That's a good deal.
Happy Valentine's Day and many other days to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
Good question.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
For the bio.
I am.
Nico Vellotta is at the forefront of a relationship wellness revolution, transforming the way modern couples forge deeper connections and intimacy. As the head of relationship science at Arya, an innovative AI-enabled intimacy platform, Nico combines scientific expertise with cutting-edge technology to empower couples on their journey toward enhanced relationship satisfaction. To learn more, go to arya.fyi. Hello, everyone. It's interview time. It's April here, and I'm with Nico Vellotta. Did I say that right?
Close enough, Vellotta, but like it was good. It was good.
I didn't even ask you. I was like, huh. We're talking about something that I feel like AI is everywhere now, and this is really cool because we're talking about AI in relationships, and we're talking about how AI being woven into the field of sexuality is actually really helping people today. And I just learned this from reading some of the stats that Nico is involved in as the head of relationship research. So we're going to dive in and hear more from Nico. So Nico, tell us how you got to where you are today in the field of sexuality.
Oh, yeah. So I got my feet wet at the University of Washington in Seattle. I was actually thinking I was going to become like some sort of like fashion marketer. And then, I started taking random classes and things like that and fell into this course with a professor that I really vibed with on the sociology of sexuality. And through that course and subsequent courses, I started kind of having this thought about, I haven't really considered like sex or intimate relationships as something you could go to school for. And then I switched my major to psychology because I was really interested in perhaps treating couples in some sort of clinical setting or doing some research on couples. And I started working with that professor that I had courses with, and we quickly just sort of meshed into each other. We got some articles out there, and I really started in earnest understanding that I did want to go into this field of researching relationships, especially sort of understanding both the micro social psychology of the couple or the polycule in itself, as well as these broader macro trends of relationships across groups, societies, even globally. And so after working with this professor, doing some research, I got hit up by a couple of entrepreneur guys. I call them the boys, but they're our co-founders. And they took a consult meeting with me, and I think it was just instant chemistry and vibes. And we were sitting there looking at each other being like, this sounds like a really cool opportunity to create a new market. I was blown away by their foresight into generating something called couples wellness as an entire economic marketplace, as well as something that people would want to invest time and attention into as sort of the next era of what wellness could look like for people in especially the United States. And so after we had this call, I started working with them, and we developed this interesting concept that became known as Arya. And now we're 3 years down the line, and we have so many it's crazy how it's blown up. It's scary sometimes in the best kind of way. And yeah, now we were able to compile this report that you referred to using over 100,000 members' information for their psychodemographics and sort of what's going on in their relationships. It's quite phenomenal.
Wasn't that the largest relationship study in modern intimacy and relationships out there to date?
So it is absolutely it depends what you want to compare it as a reference point, but I would say in terms of what it is looking at, in terms of the dynamics of relationships, from sexual satisfaction to erotic styles to how close you feel to your partner, what sort of kinks and desires do you have in your relationship, I haven't seen any report out there that reaches that sample size.
That's impressive. And I want to know, so Arya, which is what we're talking about, and I want to just break it down if people have never heard of it, which I know there's a lot of users. I want to talk about what Arya is. Is it an app? Is it a dating? I don't believe it's a dating app, but I want you to kind of give people more detail. And then how is AI playing a role in the bedroom?
Oh, good question. So Arya is you can think of it as a digital mentor through erotic and intimacy building experiences with your partner or partners. And the idea is you go through an onboarding process that captures a profile of what's likely to turn you on and off. It even will give you this spectrum of results for you to understand your own erotic style in the language of erotic personas that we've developed. And then through that, we have an algorithm that I am a part of building that curates these experiences for you. And each experience will last around 3 weeks, where you start and you get a bunch of content that introduces you to, for instance, let's say I curate bondage play for you. That's something you're really interested in exploring with your partner. It seems like it fits both your psychodemographic profiles. So you may be introduced to the basics of bondage, why bondage is pleasurable through things like entertaining videos, articles, some games you can play with your partner. It will give you prompts to kind of open discussions around different types of play with your partner. And all along this journey, you also have access to a AI enhanced concierge where, let's say you have logistical questions. Great. We have an AI who can answer those logistical questions immediately for what's going on with your scene, etc. If there is something more like, I need advice for my relationship, I need advice for what's going on in this scene with my partner and how to make them satisfied or excited by what we're about to explore, then you actually get access to real people who can then address any of these concerns or give you ideas to help you in this process. So you get both this like digital experience that spans over 3 weeks, as well as this concierge, which culminates in you actually being able to have a night of play with your partner, or nights of play, however you want to play it. I'm happy for you. But yeah, and all of the goods are delivered discreetly to your door too. So
cool.
No, it's like full life cycle of that play style of introducing, deepening knowledge, connecting with your partner, offering support through a concierge, and then also taking away any of like the mental load of trying to figure out, well, okay, we want to try this. Where do we get the stuff, or how do we start? No, we got you. We're going to tell you how to set up the room. We're going to give you a playlist. We're going to give you all of the things you need so that all you have to do is have an idea of what you're going into with your partner and experiment, play around, explore.
So it's turnkey. And so AI probably helps because it automates the process of not having to go out there and go shopping for all of these things, or do intake forms that are manual for each of these couples or people. Because it's not for singles, this is for couples. Or you said even polycules, if people are in relationships, if they're in open relationships or they're non-monogamous, it can be for those folks. And I'm interested because you touched on BDSM. Like how does it learn? How does the AI learn about what people want, like in the bedroom? I'm so curious.
Yeah, no, it's such a fun thing to discuss because AI has really just captured the imagination of so many of us that now the applications of it being so dispersed across all these different industries and all these different ways, it's like, it's hard to understand where AI is being applied and how it's actually operating. But I can tell you at Arya, at least, AI is really helping with not only sort of understanding what you need from the concierge. So let's say you send a message that says, where is the shipment that I'm supposed to expect for my night of play, right? Like AI is going to be able to pull all that information for you, send it to you. That's pretty simple application of AI that most of us are familiar with, right? The other side of AI that I get really excited about is, like you said, in terms of algorithmic power and understanding patterns and trends amongst members. And what I use AI for is understanding, this intake form of your profile, what's going to turn you on, what's going to turn you off, what boundaries you have. Also, how you and your partner relate to one another on those metrics. Because a lot of times, actually the majority of times, I will say, people come in with partners who have different erotic styles or needs than them. And AI is a really powerful tool because I don't now have to sit down and look case by case and make you wait for weeks while I go through thousands and thousands of people, right? And instead, AI is able to take these basic constituents of your profile and your persona, and then it's able to analyze that and find the best mode of fit for you and your partner to start with. And that's amazing practical application of AI in an algorithmic sense, that it's not doing anything but trying to bridge gaps between two people's needs and desires. And so it's pretty controlled, it's pretty conservative in how it's applied, but its results speak for themselves. When we look at the report, we see that going through one experience with our Arya process, 75% of our members said that they felt closer with their partner. And
which that's impressive. Of the, like, is that in all of the I don't know how many members there are. I don't think you mentioned that. You said 100,000 were in that study, but that study was separate. How many members is?
Honestly, I wish I could. So
okay.
It is growing so fast that, not even a year ago, I would have said we're at 5,000 members month over month type of thing. Today, we are growing so fast by exponential rates that every day I'm checking in and it will be 1,000 more people, 2,000 more people. So, we're definitely getting up there in terms of popularity. And it's one of those things that when we started, it was such a party topic conversation. I'd go and say, this is what I'm doing, etc. And people would be like, I've never heard of it. And now I'm at parties and people will be like, oh, I've seen that on Instagram.
Have you heard of this? They ask you if you've heard of it already.
No, literally. Oh, yeah. It's so exciting to see that. But yeah, I mean, we're really growing, and I'm seeing the reasons why we're growing in the data that I look at every single day.
Okay, so I have more of the data that you shared with us, and I want to talk about that. But one question that came up for me when you were talking about kind of what the algorithms do within the platform, but what if a couple, they're a couple, what if there's a lot of differences in their desires and what I just, because that has to happen. Does it just figure out where they can connect? That has to be a common thing. I don't know.
I won't say that it is incredibly common to come in and be completely different than your partner. Actually, a lot of research has gone into understanding what builds long-term compatibility between partners. And one of the number one predictors of that is similarity. So in terms of how many people come in and they're strangers, as ostensibly based on their onboarding, it's rarer than people coming in with some level of middle ground, even if one partner is far more kinky or one partner is far more interested in a certain play style or goal. However, there are plenty of cases, as you say, where people do come in and they have very different profiles from their partner. And we have developed specific experiences for them. We call our experiences scenes, sort of drawing from BDSM culture, of acting out a scene with your partner. So we've developed these scene experiences thoughtfully so that when we have people with very different needs, they can have a scene ready for them that starts intentionally bridging that gap as you're seen. And I like to say in the most loving way possible, it's like chocolate covered broccoli. It
is that a thing, Nico?
It's disgusting. Right? Don't go out and try this in actuality.
Don't try this at home. It's let the professionals do it.
Yeah, no, stick with the metaphor, right? You're trying to give people their vitamins and nutrients, and you need to make it fun and exciting for them to get those vitamins and nutrients to their relationship. And so the idea of some of those scenes that we've crafted specifically for members who have very different needs intimately or sexually from one another, it's chocolate covered broccoli. It's like fun experiences for you to start opening up dialogues, conversations, trying out new things with each other. And even like one of our scenes that does this, you create a sex menu, sticking with like the broccoli of it all and the like chocolate of it all, right? But like you are creating a menu of experiences that you want to try with your partner. We give you a bunch of conversational prompts, examples, yada, yada, yada. And then you and your partner build it together. And so there are practical applications of techniques you might see in a therapist's room.
In our book, we talk about that too, Nico. So I wish that
you do.
When we were writing the book, I don't think Arya existed. Otherwise, we could have put that in there, because we talk about getting your sexual menu, just laying it out. What are your yeses? What are your nos? What are your maybes? So that's really cool that now there's a way that it not only profiles it, it'll actually find the matches or the scenes that will help you build that stronger connection. That 75% of the people like felt stronger in their connection with their partners after using this. This is so brilliant. And I'm like, this is why I love technology. It's like, it's taking relationships to another level. You're saving the world,
absolutely.
Nico. Saving the world.
I will. So to that point, right? Like, we developed a framework called the erotic personas as well. I've mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's this spectrum measurement of different traits you might have in your erotic and intimate needs. And one of the reasons I really love giving people this framework is it's not just interesting and something that you're going to learn and be able to act upon, but these personas give you the language that you need to speak with your partner and bring them into your needs, desires, how your body functions when you're aroused, etc. And what is likely to work for you, what's less likely to work. And also we give people compatibility information between the personas as well to kind of give them the tools of, here's something you might want to look out for in your relationship. Here's something that you might actually want to try in this relationship with these two personas in it. And again, not only on the scene level where we're creating experiences for you to build intimacy and eroticism together, we're also trying to give you an entire language you can now speak with your partner that is not therapy talk, not to dock therapy at all. It is incredible, but oftentimes the language in therapy sort of drains the like erotic spark
in a relationship. Sexy? Are you saying it's not sexy?
Okay, you said it, not me. So that is something that I am really excited about, the erotic personas language being a little bit more digestible and applicable to those intimate environments where you are trying to foster some sort of passion or desirousness.
So it's tastier than chocolate covered broccoli. And
absolutely. It's all chocolate.
It's all
erotic.
Hey there, shameless stud. Are you ready to turbocharge your bedroom game and give your stick shift some extra fuel? Well, buckle up, babe, because Joy Mode is here to help you step on the gas and win in the bedroom. Meet Joy Mode's Sexual Performance Booster, your new pit crew for rock-solid erections. This all-natural supplement revs up your stick shift and your whole system, supporting healthy blood vessels, pumping up heart health, and giving your athletic performance a boost too. Joy Mode's formula is expertly formulated and backed by science, proven to improve erectile function by 50% in just 60 days. That's only 2 months. And forget any awkward doctor visits. Just mix a pack with water, wait 45 minutes, and boom, you're ready for action. Whether it's a romantic rendezvous or a spontaneous pit stop, Joy Mode has your back and your front. Who doesn't want to take their bedroom game to the next level? Well, now is the time. Just visit tryjoymode.com and use code SHAMELESS at checkout for 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders. That's tryjoymode.com and use code SHAMELESS for 20% off single purchases and 30% off subscription orders. Start your engine because it is go time. So this is so great because you're saying that, which communication is clearly, most folks listening and most people out there know, is one of the most important tools in a relationship, in all of your relationships, whether it's even with your friends, your children, right? Communication. And especially when it comes to sex and communication, there is a lot of discomfort. There is a lot of awkwardness that goes on, even if you've been with someone for 10 years or you know them really well and you've had maybe even you're with them for 3 months. You feel like you can be comfortable with them in the bedroom, but it's difficult to talk to them about sex or what you want. So it sounds like this is giving you all of the opportunities to improve your communication with your partner or partners. So again, you can feel closer to them. Is this what I'm hearing? Is this tool, Arya, going to take the help take the awkwardness and discomfort out of sex talk?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in our sample, we saw about a quarter of members say that they felt really uncomfortable discussing sex with their partner. And I think that it may even be higher, but it's
they didn't want to. It can be, that can be a vulnerable / awkward admission if you want to be good at it too. But talking about sex is, we have a whole chapter in our book on it. And so I love the tools part of this. And you mentioned a few. Can you just elaborate a little bit more or touch on how Arya helps with communication and especially in talking about sex?
Yeah. So as sort of the preface for why we do it, and I'll also explain how we do it, it's usually 3 buckets why communication is staggered or stymied in relationships. One being this fear of rejection or judgment, not being understood when you bring up what it is you want. And so a lot of what Arya does is provide you with the things you're interested in your curation track with your partner. So it removes the need of you to educate, bring all the information, understand everything to before you even have that conversation with your partner, right? And by that way, and through that, we're able to sort of shortcut around some of that fear that you might have in bringing up a certain play style. And additionally, we give you those conversation topics, prompts, how to speak about different topics. So even if, for instance, your curation track comes up and it's giving you, I don't know, wax play, you're really interested in trying it or something. And great, you have a wax play scene coming up. You're excited about it. But you also need to have conversations about what is about to happen, even if we already gave you a curation that works for your erotic style without you having to bring that up with your partner and telling them, hey, one of the reasons we're doing wax play this coming week is because I put it into my requests, right? So we give you the tools to have those conversations. One of the second reasons why people have difficulty having these conversations in their relationships is they don't want to embarrass or make their partner feel bad. And that is oftentimes a really beautiful act on your part as a partner where you're saving face for them. You don't want to make them feel like they're not doing something right or that they're inadequate in some way. And that's why you're bringing them something you want to try that's different. And again, we are able to bridge that for a lot of members by inherently bringing their partner into the process with them instead of making it like one partner is the reason why you're exploring this and therefore this partner is somehow accountable for the experience and the level of fulfillment that both partners feel, because that's a lot of pressure to put on your shoulders of I said I wanted to try X and now if it goes wrong, I'm to blame, right? And so instead, it's like you have this third force in Arya saying, nope, neither of you to blame. You don't have to worry about your partner's feelings getting hurt because we're here. We are doing this with you, and everything is sort of outsourced to the platform rather than just you and your partner having to navigate it yourself. And I want to say...
That's so genius. I'm sorry. That is brilliant.
Right? It's amazing. And then the last reason I want to bring up that people might have difficulty with these conversations is just the prospect of trying something new. We fear the unknown, particularly in our relationships, because we develop some sort of synchrony with our partners over time. We develop patterns and dynamics that, whether healthy, not, whatever, we feel comfortable in. And breaking a status quo is scary, even if it's for good. And you also go into it feeling like you don't control what is coming out of this. So you're hoping that, the change is indeed going to lead you to higher levels of satisfaction in this relationship. But you have no assurance of that as you go and approach this intervention with your partner. I think what's really cool about signing up for something like Arya in the couples wellness space is, again, we are the ones bringing something new into your relationship, curating it specifically for the two of you, facilitating this entire transition into trying something different together. So while you might still have a little bit of anxiety of, oh man, like I've never tried this new play style before. I'm a little bit nervous to test it out with my partner. All the other stuff, all the other things your brain could be worrying about, that's our job to figure out for you. And I love the prospect of allowing people to worry about the important things, which is, how am I going to connect with my partner in this moment? How are we going to have a fun time together? And what am I learning about me in regards to what I need in my sex and intimate life? And what am I learning about my partner and their needs? And all the other stuff, the logistics, the planning, the education, all of that gets a little bit less intense, and you can just enjoy. You can lean into the better parts of exploration.
Fact. Most pussy owners need some sort of clitoral stimulation to orgasm, and many are not having orgasms from penetrative sex.
Say what?
I know, right? This is one of the many reasons why we are obsessed with OMG Yes. Not only has it changed our lives in the orgasm department, but I've been recommending OMG Yes to my clients for years, and it's completely changed their sex lives as well. OMG Yes features scientific research of real vulva owners, aka women, showing techniques to pleasure the pussy. They turn the research into tasteful, educational short videos, animated modules, and infographics for easy visual learning.
They call it OMG Yes for a reason, because OMG Yes is for anyone who wants to learn about pussy pleasure or take it to the next level. Whether you're a beginner or someone who wants to take your orgasms from good to mind-blowing, then you need to check out OMG Yes. They have 3 seasons: external pleasure, internal pleasure, and sex toys. It's not a subscription service, y'all, so you don't need to download a single thing. And it's great for partners who want to pleasure that pussy too. And for listeners of our show, OMGS is offering 10% off when you go to omgyes.com/shameless. Again, that's omgyes.com/shameless to receive 10% off unlimited access towards enhancing your pleasure power forever. Newsflash, everybody. We are picky about our lubes.
Can we say uber picky?
Yes, we can. And let me tell you all why Uber Lube is our absolute favorite lube ever. Uber Lube is a luxurious silicone lubricant that I want all over my body. Yes, it's designed for sex because it enhances intimacy while allowing you to still feel the skin-on-skin contact. but it feels so good that I want it everywhere. Uberlube is long-lasting, leaves your skin feeling velvety smooth, and it's there when you want it, but then it dissipates when you're done.
Yes. Aside from using Uberlube for all of my sexy sessions, and I use it all the time, I also use it for massages, for my hair frizzies, to prevent chafing, and it brings out the color of your beautiful tattoos. Thousands of doctors and therapists in the US alone are recommending Uberlube to their patients because it's body-friendly, less likely to change the pH, and has vitamin E so it feels moisturizing on the skin. Uberlube has no flavor or scent, which means it's also great for oral sex. And it comes in a beautiful glass bottle with a pump top, which means easy access to Pleasure Town.
Want to see why we think Uberlube is the best lube in the world? Then go to uberlube.com and use discount code SHAMELESS to get 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com right now with code SHAMELESS for 10% off and free shipping. It's interesting, and I love those three different culminations, if you will, about how Arya helps couples. And it was not only in communication, the novelty part that you spoke to in the third piece. It's interesting to me that it is such a discomfort, or people have fear around sharing or knowing their partner's newness, or they're so used to a certain way to be with their significant other that it's scary to them sometimes to explore newness. But that is one of the keys to keeping a relationship fresh. Like Esther Perella's talked about it in Mating in Captivity, that novelty and newness is one of the ways to activate long-term relationship, just spice and that curiosity. So I love that this will also help and easily help activate that newness, because you're right. Being comfortable with a partner, it's nice, it's comfortable, it's safe. And newness can be scary, but that's what we need, because people get bored to death. And that's why folks start to seek other avenues if they're in a long-term relationship that isn't as spicy and fun and playful and exciting and lusty. I don't know if lusty is a word, but I love saying it because
I love it. Yeah.
Lusty. And you lost that honeymoon phase. You still love your partner. Seems like the perfect avenue for that. And so thank you, because my gears in my brain are really excited about this platform, because I feel like this is it's turnkey, as I said in the beginning. And there's something that was written or that you mentioned about, I think I read it. Why do you think 80% of the users are millennial women on your platform? I'm a millennial woman, so I'm like, And also there's this 7-year itch piece that I want to learn more about. So going kind of a different direction. I'm curious about those two things.
Yeah, 100%. So with the 80% of people who are signing up for Arya being millennial women, that statistic for me represents a lot of the cultural shifts we've seen around sexuality and who gets to feel pleasure in sex and who gets to prioritize sex. I think millennial women grew up in an environment that was perhaps the most friendly towards their sexuality that we've ever seen in history, while still needing a lot of the kinks sort of worked out, for lack of a better term. That was fun.
That was fun. That was perfect.
Yeah, no, that was great. But they also were the first young adults to experience this idea of we're going to talk about the clitoris. We're going to talk about how foreplay is important. We're going to talk about the pleasure gap and orgasms that are in such disproportionate numbers being had by men, but not women in heterosexual circumstances. We're going to compare these different groups of women and see that women who have sex with women are saying that their sexual satisfaction is much higher than women having sex with men, right? So we are finally in a milieu of messaging and self-recognition that women should have pleasurable sex, and women also can be the agents of getting pleasurable sex. And we see that in some cultures, especially those that are a little bit more sexually repressive, they actually are seeing women just withdraw from the sexual market instead of taking charge and figuring out what they want in the sexual market. They're just saying, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna stop. Like, hey, I'm gonna stop this effort in trying to find a man who is going to satisfy me in some kind of way, right? And what's really cool and heartening about the trends we're seeing with something like Arya or in the United States as a context is there is space in our culture to have these conversations that aren't just give up for women. Instead, they are, no, there are ways for you to have pleasure. And there is science-backed ways. There are therapy-backed ways. There is technological innovations that are going to give this to you. And now there is a whole group of men who are also interested in a woman's pleasure that, you know, in previous generations was not there as available partners. And say what you will, I mean, there are other things going on in the United States that may run contrary to that narrative, but I do think
different podcast. I like this better.
Yeah, no, this is at least what I think is the majority of people who are looking for, you know, sexually satisfying relationships. They tend to want their partners, regardless of their gender or genitalia, to feel pleasure in that sexual encounter. So I think that's a lot of what I'm seeing with the millennial women being the ones to want to sign up, is they are the heralds of a lot of that movement, just in the same way as a lot of the reproductive rights and marital rights were sort of heralded by a previous generation to them with the boomer women.
The 7-year itch now, the 7-year itch. Can you speak to this? I really am intrigued.
Okay, so the 7-year itch, from the research I've seen, is more like the 4 to 6 year itch. Generally, what we see is sexual satisfaction and frequency levels off at a bit of a plateau over the first 2 years of a relationship. And usually you hit a plateau that both partners are still satisfied. It's not as satisfying as when they first got together, but it's satisfying enough that this relationship is compatible. It is giving you what you need in order to be happy with this person. Now, what happens in a lot of circumstances is all of these sort of neurochemicals in your brain that are creating a lot of the excitement towards passion and desire for your partner really start to dip over time. And that's why I'm like, at that 2-year mark, they're definitely kicking in. Like, you're absolutely having more of these like oxytocin and vasopressin sort of hormone tracks setting in, which are more associated with comfort and settled down vibes, reliability, consistency, those sorts of mental states.
The boring stuff sometimes that can get boring.
But it's so nice too. Like, who doesn't love that?
Yes,
yeah, right?
I know,
It's
totally
comfy. And the other neurotransmitters like PEA or testosterone or dopamine start sort of going on the wayside, right? And so what we see is that after about the 4-year mark, that's when it really just, the equation is very imbalanced. There's this theorist, Helen Fisher, who I'm not fully bought into the theory that she had, but she did this meta-analysis of divorce trends and breakup trends and found that it's about a 4-year itch is when most people tend to break up or divorce. And her hypothesis was our attachment mechanisms in our brain are literally built to get a breastfed offspring off breastfeeding so that it can be raised by the collective, and then we're supposed to mate with somebody else for genetic diversity purposes. It's an interesting theory. It's evolutionary in scope, but what we can't deny is that there is this like 4-year period, and we see fluctuations in hormones that do reflect sort of this vibe that you might have lower attachment or lower sexual desire in your relationship around 4 years. And I think like also we are constantly evolving beings, and by the 4-year mark, who you envision as yourself is usually different in substantial ways from who you were when you met that person, no matter what age you are at. And that applies to your intimate and sexual life as well. And you're starting to see people, instead of hitting that plateau and saying, okay, I am going to either break up with you, have less sex with you, and just resign myself to not having pleasurable sex with you, or I'm going to maybe have an affair to find a version of myself I like more in the bedroom or in my intimate life. And more people are saying, no, I actually like sexual compatibility isn't a personality trait. It is a mindset and a practice between partners. And so I really think what people are doing with the couples wellness industry and Arya is saying, yeah, no, we're going to make this work. We're not going to fall into this like 4 to 6 or 7 year itch. Instead, we're going to take this mindset of we can find those bridges between what each other want if we just put in a little bit of effort, and if we keep an open mind and explore. And what we were saying earlier about the streamlining that Arya offers to couples, one of the great things that it streamlines is novelty into your relationship. You don't have to like figure out what new thing you need to add to your relationship, because you filled out an entire onboarding sheet and told us things you're interested in, things you're not interested in, yada yada. And like now we are the ones just curating things, and you can always skip content as well. Like if something comes up and you're like, I'm not into this, right? Like skip it, go to the next one. And that process of injecting newness into your relationship in a way that is frictionless, I think is really one of the like most optimistic visions of how technology and AI can enhance our relationships rather than distract us from them.
Okay, that's great, because that was sort of tying into my last question before we let folks know how they can find Arya, how they can find more of you if you're out there on the socials, or any new projects that are in play. But before I get to that last piece about how people can find you and Arya, so AI and relationships, I know there's a lot of people out there that are intimidated probably, or they might be not convinced yet, or they might not understand. So what advice, if you had just a little bit of advice for anyone out there in a relationship who might be hesitant to explore this new type of technology in their intimacy journey, what advice would you give them? Try it.
I would
Just try it.
No, genuinely. When I go and speak about AI, the first question I ask in any presentation or talk is, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I bring up AI in your bedroom? And it's these dystopic visions of robots that either you're having sex with or that are somehow replacing the sex that you're having with your partner. It's I'm on my phone and I'm distracted and I'm not paying attention to the relationship in front of me. It's VR porn that makes me more excited to have sex with avatars than with real people. It's a lot of these really science fiction-y concepts that, don't get me wrong, like there are technologies being developed in those veins, But all we can seem to conceive of is how technology is going to destroy intimacy or eroticism in our relationship. And we neglect the ways that technology has already enhanced intimacy in relationships. For instance, imagine a world, it wasn't too long ago, but imagine a world where you could not text, FaceTime, call your partner. That is now such a fundamental part of staying connected in a relationship.
It wasn't that long ago. It was not that long ago. I was watching Californication. I don't know if you ever watched that show.
Yes,
I've been rewatching it. And it was 2007 when it came out, and they really didn't have cell phones anywhere present in the show. And my mind was blown. I was like, that was not that long ago.
But now you're imagining a world without it, and you're like, I don't know how that happens. I could not imagine being in a relationship where I don't have this. Another example would be dating apps. Finding partners now is so much about technological innovation and how algorithms work and how we're going to match you and which app is the best app. And for better or worse, a lot of people do find their partners using dating apps. And even if we're going to go into sort of the robot space with sex tech and we talk about innovations in sex toys, there are so many amazing sex toys out there that understand anatomy and relationships and sex positions that you may want to use that sex toy in that simply never existed prior to maybe 5 years ago. We had laws on the books within the last 20 years where certain states still had vibrators as illegal. So,
certain states still do.
Certain states still do. Do you know them? Because oh, yeah.
And they're actually banning more in certain states like Alabama. You can get sex toys, but it's really difficult still. And sex shops are not allowed to open in states like Kentucky. They've been passing laws. And I am part of the Free Speech Coalition. And it's a great organization to support. They work a lot to get legislation passed for not only sexual wellness world, but also the adult world. And it's a very... you think you're 20 steps forward and then you go 50 back. So I don't have all of the updated, I didn't prepare an updated queue of which states was on the chopping block for some states to at least not open new sex shops, but also to not even have any delivery of sex toys in certain states if they were. So I don't know if it went through. It's wild.
Crazy. And I'm not up to date on all the legislation. I stopped teaching courses around 5 years ago. But if you asked me 5 years ago, I probably would have stats on it. But
we've gone backwards since then, though. So this is very new.
Exactly. And the way that these sex toys are getting into these states oftentimes are under the guise of being medical devices, right? And crazy how many loopholes you have to find just to get a girl a good clit sucker, right? That's just ridiculous. But there's a reason people want them. And I think that in summary of what I'm saying here is that technology has already offered us a lot of different ways for us to enhance sex, intimacy, connection. AI is, when applied thoughtfully, intentionally, able to do the same thing for us, and perhaps on a level that is far exceeding some of the things that we expected from other services, particularly in the realm of figuring out logistical issues for you and your partner. Also, figuring out how to best guide you through a process that takes into account both of your needs and can update any algorithms or curation that you need through feedback with that bot of some sort. And it's also something that in the long run, I could see being almost this personal assistant to your relationship, almost treating it as an entity in your life. So it's you, your partner, and your relationship. And there is some sort of AI that's optimized for your relationship as that third entity. Just as you would want an AI to help you book travel, maybe you want an AI to keep track of your anniversaries and date nights and your work schedules and make sure that you fit in time so that you have romantic encounters and
makes it
take
easier.
all that off your shoulders.
Yes, it's making life easier, which I think that is, in summation, what we all want. We all want life to be a little easier. And if your intimacy journey can also get easier in the process with these new tools and platforms, such as Arya, such as AI platforms in general, ChatGPT, that's all the rage. You know, people are so stoked on the accessibility of modern technology. So where can people find Arya? Because I know we're going to get a lot with that and we have to wrap up. I could talk to you about AI and technology for hours, but I have to podcast more today. And it's getting late in New York. So yes, where can they get Arya? Where can they, if you have any work you want to share, any socials, please share with all of us.
Yeah, so Arya is spelled Arya, and you can find us at arya.fyi, and then you can also find us on social with arya.fyi, I believe is our what are they
We'll
called?
have links. We'll have links.
Well,
to
yeah,
all of it.
what are those called? Are those tags?
Those are,
like,
I think they're, right?
Handle.
Handles.
What,
I was like, okay. Social handles. I was like,
such
tags?
a bad like zillennial right now. Like I'm like,
yeah, well,
the fuck is this called? Sorry.
There's too many of them out there.
Okay. And then the for my socials, I am on Instagram at mind_on_love and on TikTok at mindonlove, and website is mindonlove.com. So basically, if you're typing in some iteration of Mind on Love, you're going to find me on a platform.
Oh, that's easy. That we love easy. And I'm really stoked on this conversation because we haven't had anything like this. We've never talked about AI and relationships, not in depth. And I'm really stoked on this new beginning. I know you have had Arya out for a couple of years now, but I think that letting our audience know that it exists and taking some of the question marks out of what to do next and eliminating all of the tools that you have to research and find on your own to one solid place where it really uses what you know and learn about your relationship and your desire to improve your future with your partner. I think that's really special. So I'm sold. I am sold. So thank you,
wow.
Nico. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm really sold. And to all of our listeners out there, check out Arya. Check out Mind on Love.
Yep, that's it.
Yes, see, 3
you
times.
got it.
Mind on Love and Nico's work. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing to improve the world's intimacy, sex, relationships, communication, all of it, Nico. We appreciate you. And we appreciate our listeners, everyone. We will invite you. I do. Usually Amy's here with me, but since I'm alone, I'll invite you to rate our podcast on your favorite podcast app. It helps more folks find avenues of communication and relationship wellness like Arya. And it really helps us feel better about the work that we're doing because it's not easy all the time, right? Talking about sex and relationships can be hard. Unless you have Arya. All right, y'all. We'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Shameless Sex. Ciao for now.
To learn more, go to shamelesssex.com.
And for 15% off some of our favorite sex toys, use code SHAMELESSSEX at purepleasureshop.com.